Hello. It is Wednesday. It's time for Hope and Healing's live art therapy, and today we have a guest, Louma from Pokidots.
Hi. Okay, so I'm Louma El-Khoury, and I own Pokidots, where I make keepsakes using, well, it started using baby clothes and sentimental items, but now it's branched. Now that I have more visibility, it branched into other stuff. Like I'm working now on something from a mom who passed away, and the daughter gave me the mom's clothing to make, to make her portrait with.
Oh, that's
this. I mean, I love the baby stuff too, but I don't know, when something there's strong emotions attached, I feel that that I'm adding more value. Recently, actually changed the tagline. It's been for more than 4 years. It's been keepsakes made with your child's baby clothes, and just this week I changed it to sentimental clothing. Yeah, and when you go to the website, it's mostly baby stuff, so it's not that you're taking that away, but yeah, I like to, I don't know, impact a little more.
Yeah. Well, I had noticed on your website that you had a bridal section.
Yeah, too.
That's been there a bit.
I don't market it too much. I don't know, because I guess I'm focusing on one thing at a time.
That's a good idea.
Avoid overwhelm. But at the end of the shop, I have, a link to the bridal. So usually moms, when they're looking for something for their kids, they will scroll down and bridal. Oh, what's that? Something for me, for the kids.
Remember my special day.
Exactly. So that's how they find me, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna get some for the kids, and maybe I'll get a treat for myself. And usually, I don't know, they're like, let me remember the day I looked so good, and and a lot of times they would have their wedding dress just sitting in the closet in a huge box for years. So it's usually a good time when they're looking for something for the kids. Enough time has passed to try to do something with the bridal dress, unless they're keeping it for the daughter, which is a different story.
It's a totally different story. But yeah, that's cool. Well, I'm excited. I printed up the links that you sent me, so I'm hoping that other people, I shared the links that you had sent with the directions and everything, and I'm really excited. It looks like a great project.
The whole thing takes a little more than half an hour, maybe. So I just left some things uncut, and I'll do them on video.
That's awesome. Really appreciate it. It's inspiring me to do a couple different things in my journal this week with fabric from the past.
Nice. It's an easy one. It did take me a couple of tries to. It looks simple, but it took me a couple of tries to make it like doable over and over again, to have instructions that made sense.
Well, yeah. I appreciate that. And should we just get started?
Sure.
You got some fabric?
Yeah. Oh, I'm doing this one that I posted. So there's these, when you print out, you get the mountain guides numbered, 1 in the background until 5 in the forefront. And then you get this background sheet, which you should print on cardboard. So this sheet is letter size 8.5 by 11, and the edge of the blue, of the big blue, is 8 by 10, which should be the size of the frame. And the middle one is 5 by 7. So the frame should be 8 by 10 with a mat that has a 5 by 7 window. So that's what works. So first step is to cut the mountain. So because the mountains, they're organic things, it doesn't have to be exactly on the line on the top of the mountain. So if you're cutting it a little jagged and not exactly on the line, it's totally fine. It's just guides to have some sort of shapes that work together. So after cutting all the mountains, 1 goes in the back and 5 in the front. I have a pen that doesn't bleed and the rest of the blanket. So I cut the front ones, 5, 4, 3, 2. And then, okay, so a tip here is that my blanket is patterned. So what I did to have some contrast between the layers of mountains is that I used the pattern, I alternated pattern and no pattern. So I used pattern in the front one. The second one, the top, I kept it white, then pattern, then white. And then the number 1, I'll make it end up on a pattern, on a spiral pattern.
That's right. It helps give the illusion of some depth, huh?
Yeah. So you can either print these on paper and pin them to the fabric, or what I did is print them on cardboard and I'm just tracing because it doesn't have to be so exact, you know? So I traced all of them. So the sides, the straight sides, it's fine if the pen lines show because they're going to be covered with the mat. But the top side, just if you did the tracing thing, just cut a little bit under the line so that it doesn't show.
No pen on the finished product top side. Okay.
So the top side, no pen lines, preferably. So that's the number 1. And then I put them on top of each other. Just make sure that they look good. If you don't have so much fabric, all you need is the top. So the 1, for example, doesn't have to be so big because the 2 is covering part of it. So it can be this height. But usually it's not that much fabric, so even like a baby onesie should fit in all of these.
Fit the whole pattern?
Yeah. So what I use is no-sew fabric glue because it's faster, but if you want to stitch, it's also good. So what I did is I glued them together very lightly, only at the top, at the bottom, I mean.
Okay. Because
we just want them to stay together. The frame is going to hold them all together. So it's not like, the glue is saving the artwork. It's just to keep them generally in the same place. So just align the sides and the bottom together. So now we have the mountains. And next step is to get the background. And also, I'm using the same glue because we're also putting it just, to keep it in place lightly. When it's framed, it's going to stay in the same place. So I'll put it on the border of the 5x7. Okay. Also, just a thin line and glue the mountains on it. So it looks like this now. And then all the, the not straight things are going to be covered with the mat. So I have 8x10 mat with a 5x7 window. So now another trick is to get these foam double adhesive, because now at the bottom of the artwork there's the fabric thickness. And we want the top to match. So what I did is I put some of these on the top so they add some depth. I put them only on the top because the bottom will have the thickness of the fabric.
And that's how you get the nice shadow that I saw in the finished picture.
Yeah. Otherwise, it'll give it more depth because it has depth on the mountains, and now it'll be more even. So make sure it should be the same size as the cut artwork. Make sure you glue it straight. And you see the thickness here. So it's a simple thing, but it does make a difference.
It does. It gives it a nice, clean look to it.
Yeah.
And a shadow boxy look.
Yeah, what I like to do is just, maybe unstick the layers from each other. I don't like stuff to be perfect because, it's not. So just do it like this to have more depth and less polished look is what I like to do.
When it makes use of the fact that you're using fabric, you're not painting a picture. So
yeah,
that movement in the
and you're not finishing the fabric. So that's another imperfection that I like in my work because it's I don't know, it's a reflection of life, and there's nothing in life that's really polished. So what I did for more sentimental stuff, I add notes inside, like something simple, like life is good, or I don't know, sailing in a sea of joy, or something like that. And my clients will never see that, but they're there. I don't know. I believe in positive vibes in my messages. So what I did with these is that I got small pieces of paper like this.
Yeah.
And if it's an emotional release piece, you write something, your emotion, what you're feeling, something good, something bad. And I put them in just a little thing. I just stuck it in the mountain. I do this with most of my art. My girls' keepsakes, they have like a whole letter under the fabric that they'll never see. They'll never read it unless they, tear it apart. And it's not the point. The point is that it's there, and I believe that it adds something positive. So you write something, whether it shows or not. So now, like, if you want to make it like a little, I don't know, boat origami and make this a sea instead of mountains.
I was just thinking that looks like a little sailboat.
Yeah, exactly. So whether it shows or not is not the point. And then you frame it, and that would be
the
result. Yeah, so I did this one where the note shows. I did this with a t-shirt that had a stripe. And I alternated between the colors to have more depth. And I kept this. So I think that in this case, the color, bluish, and this does look like a sea more than mountains.
Well, I love the whole idea of, like, last week I was talking about letting go and then thinking about your work and how you got inspired by